Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. I'm Cam. This is Crowie.
Hi guys.
Got a bit of a theme for the to kick off the year.
Bit of a mini series called
Keep It Simple.
The Keep It Simple series, and I guess you could almost have the catchphrase "Make business great again."
The caption on order.
Yeah.
Caption on order.
Trademark. Make 2024 great again. Yeah. And I think the way that 2024 is going to be great is by keeping it simple.
Yeah, so keeping it simple. We're going to kick off around keeping it simple with your people. And the key to this is your clients.
Yeah, so I mean, keep it simple for us is going to focus on three areas: people, numbers, and product. So your people skills got to be there, your numbers got to be there, and your product's got to be there. And I think, it's funny to even talk about, but no matter how good your product and your checklist, no matter how good the text message on the way to site, no matter how good your job costing and measuring spreadsheets or job management system set up, no matter how good your price book is and the ease of quote, if you've got ground plan, into the moon, into your job management system, into a text message, into your 3210, straight through snake one, straight to the client, right? You can have the sickest automation set up. You can have the best staff members. You're going to have the sexiest staff members.
Best looking wrapped vehicles in the region.
Yeah, the best roof racks ever. Yeah, they've got three of these. They're 200 kilo rated, man. You can have the sickest rims.
Yes, yeah. Could be lowered maybe, or lift kit.
You could have a fully lowered Hiace just for the car parks. And the chicks, but mainly the car parks, for the mainies.
Doing mainies,
so you can have all the gear and no idea, so to speak. You can have the best of everything, but let's face it, if you don't have clients, you don't have
anything.
You don't have anything. Like, your business is made up, and we're talking about people, and people take twofold for me. Boys and girls. People take twofold. Now that's a controversial topic. I'm not even going to. I didn't even mean to go there.
It's a deep hole.
Yeah, cut. So people take twofold for me: staff and clients. And it's like we wanted to start from the bottom. Now we're here. Start from the top. Here we are. The most important thing is clients.
Clients, yeah. Well, clients give you everything because it gives you. Or your staff.
They give you the reason for the job management system, the reason for the staff, the reason for the rims,
it gives you
the reason for the mainies.
Because you can have all the gear, like we said, but if you've got nothing to do, all that gear, all that talent, all that expertise is just parked in the driveway, essentially, or sitting in the office.
Yeah. So talking about clients and just the emphasis. I mean, so many people. The big thing that comes to mind for me with clients is making sure you're working for the right kind of clients,
100%.
Not the tire kickers. But you've got to start somewhere, and sometimes you just got to get moving. So great, like
it's evolving. I think through anyone's journey in an electrical business, it's an evolving process, evolving clientele, and what you'll find over time is that probably the bulk percentage-wise. So if you were to split up your type of work that you're doing, it could be like, hey, we do 50% of residential service and maintenance and 50% of commercial maintenance, or we do 50% commercial fit outs, and then the rest of it's just everything else. But then over time, you generally find you shift and sway, and then you'll end up finding a sweet spot. Like we know for a fact, a couple of our members now, they used to do a bit of everything, but now they're really niched into certain areas. A couple of guys, they just 100% project. That's all they do. 100% maybe residential, custom home focused. 100% commercial style focus, so like government projects, hospitals, schools, all those sorts of bits and pieces. But it's an ever-evolving door, and probably let's just start in the very beginning. If you are just by yourself or just got a small team, that there is an element of you do sort of have to take what you can get to a point, but I know you've got some really key thoughts around this. You don't like the tire kickers.
No, you take what you get, but there's also an element of it's just anyone who's willing to pay the bills. I think that probably sums up, not like obviously there's super frustrating clients, there's high maintenance clients, but generally speaking, if someone's picking up what you're putting down, if someone's picking up your rates or your quotes or whatever, that's great. And you're not going to, you just got to, we literally had a chat this morning with someone going like, whoever's willing to pay that invoice that's discussed from the quote is probably your ideal client at this point. This person was starting out, and everyone wants the commercial maintenance when they start out, or the bakery, or the school, the government. And if your chances are it's not going to happen. Or if it does happen, there'd be a significant relationship you knew from an old company, or there'd be like, oh, my dad was doing work for these people, or my mum's best friend is here and I got chipped in somehow. But generally speaking, you have to start somewhere, and it's okay. You just got to get moving. It's an age-old thing. Your first podcast isn't going to be that good.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
Our one sounded like it was recorded on the moon.
But everyone's got to start somewhere, and we all have probably our ideal or avatar or dream sort of client that we're after, and it's great to have those goals that you probably will eventually achieve more than likely if you keep working towards what you're after. But I think you do need to take an element of what you can get and who's going to pay the bills. One thing I think really important here is that the way that you go about getting them is only going to really come in two ways, and it's either going to be through relationships that you have, or it's going to be through advertising and getting your name out there. And it really depends on the type of client that you're going to be looking for, whether you're going for paid ones or whether you're going for relationships one. It really depends on where you are and where you're based. So I know where you started your business was where you grew up. So you had a lot of relationships there. Where I started my business, I didn't grow up there, and I'd been absent from the area for a number of years, living overseas and interstate.
Where did you grow up?
And things like I grew up in Brisbane.
Bris Vegas.
Yeah, Brizzy. So
I was there yesterday, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I find that we can have these thoughts in our head that we're after this particular type of person, or hey, this is who we want to really be doing work for, and that's great. But ultimately, to begin with, you probably can't be that picky and that choosy. But what you need to do is have a really solid sort of foundation on what you're going to accept and what you will accept, because that will then lead you down the type of client that you are after. Because if you're working for someone who is after the cheap person, generally speaking, they're going to refer you to cheap friends, so to speak. So you keep going down that path. Where if you can get yourself in with a customer who is wealthy, or they have good connections, or they are willing to pay a price for the exceptional work that you're doing, they then talk, and then their friends generally have sort of the same standards.
Did I ever tell you I did work for this guy? I think he was my friend's dad or father-in-law or something, pretty obscure relationship, and sent him this invoice. It was like $450 for a bit of NBN work or some lead-in conduit. So I can't remember exactly. And he called me and just lost it. And I was like, this is exactly what we said. And it was interesting because it was all about the travel being charged, small job, which could I have communicated better? Probably. So anytime that something like that happens, always look to myself and be like, what could have I done better? Because why was he not expecting the 450, got the 450 and he's blown up? Like, what could I have done differently? Chances are a couple of things at that stage early on in business, but I remember he just like kind of lost it. And he was like, you don't know any people I know, like I'm going to pass you on to I'm not going to pass you to my friends and families. And rare moment of cracking for me. I don't crack a lot in that work front. And I was like, I think I might have said, mate, I was like, mate, if I don't want the people you're going to pass me on to. Like, this is going to be tire kicker 101. Probably didn't say the word tire kicker, but like, it's just not every client is an ideal client. So work out who you sort of want to work with. And chances are you're paying for your clients with your time or your money. You're either hustling, like calling, warm calling, cold calling, or you're paying for advertising, be it Google ads, Facebook ads, giant billboard, driving through the mainies. Radio. Interesting. So we just put out this Finding Work Bible last week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever, about a month ago. And that's just everything you can do for lead generation or finding work or whatever you sort of want to call it. But I want to encourage you, don't overcomplicate it. It's not complicated. It should be the simplest thing in business. Like, who do you want to work with? Okay, sweet. Let's list the people who can give us repeat work, like the toddler theory. Your toddler's not questioning where the meal comes from. The meal's just on the table. They're like, oh, thank God. Thank God for whoever put this here. Yeah. I didn't even know who put this here. So it's like, find someone who can give you repeat work. And I think starting my business, I was so fortunate enough to have friends that were landscapers and builders and, just like all of that nature where, let's say a builder gets a job, they give it to you. So you do the renovation or the bathroom reno or the kitchen reno, and don't despise small beginnings as well on this. Yeah. So I know, like, if you've come out of working for someone else on a high-end home, you're probably not going to walk straight into a high-end home contract or cost plus arrangement or whatever. So it's like, you've got to start somewhere. And
you're generally going to start off on a lot smaller style,
you might change your PowerPoint.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars.
I used to work on the really big stuff. You can have your ego attached to that or whatever. Yeah. And but you've just got to be like, the bathroom renovation, the builder doing the bathroom renovation usually leads to a kitchen renovation, usually to like a extension, then it goes upstairs, and it goes new build, and it goes high-end resi. So it's like, if the builder's motivated, or the client's motivated, the landscaper's motivated, whoever, the plumber, the aircon person, whoever you're working with, for the aircon people as well, Sparkies are your clients.
Yep.
Friends. For the Sparkies,
you're aircon, also our friend.
Yeah, aircon people, like, unless they're doing both. But yeah, you don't like, for the solar people or the thermal imaging people doing a lot of that stuff, don't underestimate Sparkies, level 2 as well. Like, that's your target market. Just don't take their work, but like, if you can be nice enough about it and create the reputation, if you're a level 2 or certified level 2, this is New South Wales, you guys don't even have it, do you?
No.
Yeah, so if you're outside of New South Wales, probably go, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't underestimate, like, you if you're niched out, your market can actually be Sparkies.
Yep.
If you're home automation, your market can actually be Sparkies. Like, we didn't do aircon, we did solar later in life, didn't do home automation. And so we're looking for partnerships around there. What's your thoughts on referral marketing?
So in the sense of building out a network, I suppose you want to call it, a network, and building up like a referral base of people who give you work, I think it's amazing way to do things. In referral marketing, in the sense that there's kickbacks or there's trade-offs or there's brown paper bags if you're the Sydney Roosters, for example.
I'll touch your bum if you touch mine.
I've never been a part of it. I've never really been involved in it. I've got mates who work in finance, in insurance sectors and things like that. It's a really big part of it. Like, there's a clip along the way. So I've sort of always found it, I guess I haven't been exposed to it as much, so it's sort of not something I'm familiar with. I've always probably been a little bit uncomfortable with it also, just because I think in the trade game, your reputation sort of precedes everything. So if I'm working for a client and I'm like, hey, I've got a couple of, they're like, hey, do you know anyone? I need the flooring done. I need a plumber. And it's like, hey, I've got Tate, I've got Podsy, I've got Carlos. So there's a few guys come in, the painter, etc. I can get these guys in, and they just do a sweet job. That's enough, because then that person, like the customer we've worked for, then tells all of their friends and family about the people who did the work there. But then in turn, so the painter goes here and the plumber goes here, then if I need it on them, it just goes back. So it's like a bit of a circle of life. That's how I sort of feel about it.
Just reference the Lion King,
maybe,
Elton John.
Maybe.
That's a great.
Does that make sense?
No, I feel like authenticity and reputation were big, but I get it's very common. I mean, referral marketing, for the sense of like, so we had shout out to Tom from Rylec. We gave him so much work on the home automation front. Never got $1 from you bastard. No, but I didn't ask, and I think because for me, I mean, if someone came to me and said, like, we get it in coaching, people are like, hey, can you refer this product? And I'm like, if I don't use your product, I'm not going to refer it. And like, you couldn't pay me enough to risk my reputation for so even if a plumber came to me and said, hey, I'll give you some money, give you some sweet cashish, I'd be like, I'm not going to refer you if I don't trust you. I'm not going to refer you if you're going to damage my relationship, and I'm not going to refer you if you're going to damage my reputation. So it's like, for me, that was first and foremost. $100 is not as good as a long-term client. And if I refer, say, shout out to Tommy, legend, top guy. If I refer him and he did his thing and he did it well, I look better. Yes. So that was what I was a big believer of. And I just think anyone you're passing on numbers to, like, you're risking your reputation if something goes south. So there's a big trust element there. Are they going to be late? Are they going to be on time? Are they not going to answer their phone?
Because it's a reflection of you. That no matter how you
it's an extension of your arm.
Yeah,
really. Like, anyone you pass on to anyone is an extension of your arm. So it's like, that's really interesting. So I've never dabbled in it for money sense, but I know a lot of other industries, it's pretty part and parcel, pretty common. And not saying something good can't come of it, but you just got to be careful. Like
I would say tread carefully with it.
You would say be prepared, like Scar?
Yeah, it's sort of...
Prepare for what?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I've got a thought around clients, and I know you're really big on this, Crowie, is that I genuinely feel that relationships trump everything.
Yeah, it's the ultimate trump card. Lots of Donald Trump references.
We're making Sparkies great. So I think relationships trump everything, because referencing a little bit what you said before is that when you start off, you by yourself, or you maybe have an apprentice, or let's just say you're a small team working for, let's just say you're in with a builder and he's just doing some extensions and some renovations. So doing the odd deck here, maybe blowing out the couple of windows and putting some bifolds in, maybe 10 or 20 small jobs a year. What happens is, over time, is those small jobs become medium jobs, which then become full-blown renovation jobs, which then become full-blown extensions, or going up a level or going out, and then eventually they will become full-blown new builds, potentially, depending on what avenue they go down. But eventually they're going to be either full renovation, full extension, or alteration, or full new build. And what happens is, all you need to do is literally jump on that sleigh, referencing some Christmas. We're in the time of year. Literally, so your business will grow with the relationship clients you have as their businesses grow. And the only thing that allows that growth to occur is time. So there is an element of patience that's required. And I can reference, like, myself personally, a couple of people that we work with, they started off with, one or two. Like, generally builders have a few more people, because you can't lift an I-beam by yourself. So they always have a team to start with. But we would do small renos and small little extensions. And now, with a couple of them, all they do is new builds. That's it, custom home type finish. So
they usually get chipped in. So the general consensus is someone in your friendship group will become pretty wealthy. Like, usually, maybe one or two or three, and they will pay that builder, or that relationship will lead that builder to that cost plus job, high end. And once they get that reputation, they're done forever. So if you can jump in the Uber and go along for the car ride. And I think that's what I underestimated, the organic growth of your existing clients. Everyone's like looking for new clients. And we want to encourage you, like, no matter where you're sitting, clients are, people, like clients and staff members are the lifeblood of your business. You don't have clients, you can't have staff. So it's like, what you can be so thankful for when you first land a new client, you can become quite frustrated with, like, after a while. So be careful on the frustration matrix. Also want to reference what you said about about relationships. Hopefully you're listening to this and be like, I've got some people that give me repeat work, or I've got a good client base, or whatever. Now, I hope that if I was to cold call your people, or, CRM's people or whatever, that they'd be like, oh, thanks, we're using someone already. Like if I called Raquel and said, hey, Raquel, I want to go for dinner. She's like, actually, I'm seeing someone. I'm like, is he any good, bud? Is he as good looking as me? So it's like, hopefully you're doing such a good job that with your existing clients, that there's not a door open for someone to get into. And that's what you got to reference. There's hungry competitors out there, just like you're hungry yourself. And you're essentially one poor invoice, one overcooked quote, not maybe one, but maybe 1, 2, or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I was speaking to someone the
Poor
other day.
experience overall.
Yeah, speaking to someone the other day, and they made a bit of a mistake at this sort of client's house, and when they invoice, they charge $70 for 1 meter of 2.5 on the job management system. So it was like, but there was 70 meters, so it was like a $5,000 materials bill. And you got to think, like, when you're invoicing a lot of clients, you're invoicing their admin team, and if there's that trust relationship there, they're like, oh, whatever Cam sends through, just pay it, and it's just maybe on the off chance they check the bill and they're like, this guy's been trying to stitch me up the whole time. So be really careful about, like, that's why all that stuff matters, like sending invoices, checking invoices. It's about the relationship and maintaining that relationship and maintaining the trust in that relationship and having that open communication. And so cold calling can be, it's a way of finding work, lead generation, but the relationship card trumps absolutely everything, And if you can build those relationships and focus up on those relationships, and if you can make sure the client's like your top priority in my head. It's like, the client, did they have a good experience with me? How can I make the experience better? Do you ever ask your clients what you could do better?
Yeah, we communicate with them and see how it's going along and how their experience has been, and you sometimes get a good feedback, a bit of feedback. Generally speaking, I find with the client side of things, you will only ever get pulled up when there's an issue. You very rarely are going to be praised all the time. Like, you get your thanks and all that sort of stuff along the way, but it's not like a massive, big, like making a big deal of it. The deal made out of having a poor experience is larger than not. And I can always put down to a poor experience with the client, how it is based around us making an error through poor communication, sending out invoicing correctly, or just dropping the ball somewhere along the line. Very, very rarely has it been the customers or the client's issue. And there's one final thing here I want to sort of touch on with clients, based around the relationship side of things. Is with your client, you want to get people who you want to work with. Let's be honest, and let's put that down straight away. And I found pretty much you get them the two ways we spoke about. You either get them through advertising or you get them through relationship. But then, regardless of how you get them, they all then fall under relationship clients, because you build the relationship with people and you get to know them and you find out, their partner's names, where they live, where their kids go to school, all those sorts of things. So it becomes quite a personal relationship, and people really like that. And I think every relationship is different, right? So I've had a lot of people be like, oh, we don't want to work for this type of person, this particular client, because that they seem needy. Or they're always needy, or, they're a bit disorganized and things like that. And I sort of flip the script on that sometimes and think, okay, well, do they give you a large volume of work or a continual stream of work? If that's a yes, okay, cool. Do they pay their bills all the time? Yes. So the inconvenience of maybe asking for variations at the last minute, or the inconvenience of having to communicate with them regularly, or so perceived, these are probably all perceived inconveniences, like, oh, I have to go to site triple the time, I have to go with our other, main builder or something like that. To me, they're all perceived issues within yourself, when in fact this person's giving you a lot of work, and all they're asking in return is a little bit probably more project management, because A, they're either a bit disorganized, or B, that's just the way they roll. Like, they make last minute changes. And generally speaking, people I find who do a lot of last minute changes generally have a large amount of money in their bank account, so they're not fussed about that. So what you need to do there is then change your mindset around it, say around the client, and be like, well, they're happy for us to do the work, so they're happy to be billed a bit more. So rather than looking at them as an inconvenience, look at them as more billable hours. That's simply the way I look at it. It's really, really simple. It's like, well, we just need to throw 2 more guys on the job to capture all the bits and pieces they want done at the last minute, which in turn equals more billable hours. That's a really simple analogy I look at.
Well, it goes back to what we sort of talking about before, about how what you can be so thankful for, you can be so ungrateful for in the future, personally and professionally. So, when you're first in a new relationship, you're like, oh, that's so cute, cool. After 20 years, you're like, it's starting to annoy me, but it's like, you got to remember, so the clients, when you first get that new client, during that sort of honeymoon
Yeah,
stage,
you're like,
like,
"I'll
oh,
do
I'm so
anything."
sorry, babe, I didn't mean that. Like, I love you so much. Yeah, there's excellent finger paintings. Like, you're just frothing so hard, and any callback is oh, that's no drama, and they're like, oh, how good's Crow to work with? He's so chill, and then it's like over time that can become frustrating.
Like an
Like, oh, they're
inconvenience
always
almost.
changing their mind,
Yeah.
or now the schedules. I often found when I was really busy, it was I could take it out on the client because it's like that one extra day or 3 extra days or that job being ready next week that I didn't know about. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, like, I'm not like, or there, for me, this is massive when I started just booking in the cut out and fit off after rough in. So I used to basically rough in, walk away, go to a million other jobs, and then they'd call me for cutout, and I'm like, "What do you mean the cutouts next week?" It's like, yeah,
You're scheduled
yeah,
for 2 weeks time.
yeah. But I'm like, I
What
hadn't factored
inconvenience.
the cutout. Like, but you got to preempt things. You got to preempt the cutout. You got to touch base on the Causey Friday with your clients and be like, "What's coming up? What do I need to know? Like, give me some intel, and I'll get it sort of booked in." You need to be aware of what's going on. There's always going to be those unforeseen emergencies. That's fine, but try and predict what is predictable, and try and just otherwise too much is if you're living week to week, too much is unpredictable and it puts a really heavy strain upon you. But I often found when I was really busy, I could really take it out
I
on the
think that's
client,
when it occurs, when you're
or
really busy.
yeah, or stressed about something, or like they were behind on an invoice, or I was late in invoicing, or whatever. So it's like always never take it out on people, the people around you. Make sure if you're frustrated, try and work out what you're frustrated about. It's probably something quite simple, like there's a bad debt or a large debt.
Backlog of invoicing, or you're
Yeah.
just putting yourself under
Or
the pump
you
too
got
much.
too much work on, and you're trying to, or you're at a ceiling of time,
Yeah,
and it's
you need
like,
help. You need
yeah.
an admin person, you need another tradie on board, or you need
So
another
that's probably
apprentice
the
on board.
core of the issue. So try and get to the core of the issue rather than just picking the fruit and eating it. Like, what tree is it? Is it a bad apple tree? Because you need to start.
Or is it a delicious mango from North Queensland?
We got a mango tree in the backyard starting to fruit.
So good.
Yes. So no matter where you're at, just focus up on the clients. They are the most important relationship you have. Be thankful for your clients. Be appreciative for your clients. You don't have to go and buy them a ham every Christmas, but you do need to continually turn up doing excellent work with an excellent attitude. That's what you need to do, and prioritize them, and know that one good client, they tell everyone. So it's like, just keep doing the right thing, keep turning up, keep showing up with a great attitude, and you'll eventually grow your client base.
Yeah, 100%. So keep it really simple. Look after your clients. Look after the new clients that come on board. Focus on your clients. Should I say clients one more time?
Yeah,
Clients.
I can. Yeah.
No, look after your clients. Focus on them because they are literally the lifeblood of your business. And I think sometimes we focus too much on finding the next nice new shiny object rather than focusing on what's already in front of us. So look after your clients.
Yeah, bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, So what's in your hand right now? Who you got? And look after them. See you soon.
Cheers.